Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. Today we have Week 5 of the BHDL4 Draft League. That is going to be against Anastasia, an individual who we've played twice before here on the channel. She is actually the reigning BHDL champion currently, and yeah, both of our prior games were back in last season of this draft league, so very tough competitor to face down, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and get the battle on its way here. And so there we go. IGN is of course going to be Anastasia, and let's take a look and see what she has for us. So she's got the Galarian Articuno. She's got the Corviknight. She's got the Toedscruel. She's got the Dragapult. She's got the Dunsparce. And she's got the Incineroar. So, this is quite a little bit of a different team than I was expecting here. No Primarina is kind of a surprise to me. No Ukadoogie is kind of a surprise to me as well. No Bellybolt is kind of a surprise. A little bit surprised to see the Toedscruel, a little bit surprised to see the Dunsparce. So yeah, I think our play going into this was to lead our Sneasler in most situations, and I think nothing we see changes that math, so I think we have to lead with the Sneasler here, and yeah, we'll just see how that works out. But definitely a little bit different of a squad than I was expecting. Don't quite know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for us, but I guess we'll find out. Definitely an important game for both teams here, so we'll just have to see what we can do and see what happens. So she is going to go ahead and lead with the Toedscruel, kind of as expected, as we lead with the Sneasler. So we are Choice Scarf Sneasler, so we know we're going to outspeed this thing, even if it is Choice Scarf by chance. Now, the only problem with this matchup is that we have nothing that can block a Spore. Thanks to Mycelium Might, it will negate Goodra's Sap Sipper. So unfortunately, we're in a situation where we can't one-shot this thing, and so something probably has to go to sleep right now. Best thing we can do is just U-turn, so that's what we're going to do, and see what she wants to do. But probably we're going to have to get something to sleep. So we go U-turn, does massive damage to this thing, knocks it down into the red, and we do get the Poison Touch, which is absolutely amazing for us. And then we get the pivot out, so that is absolutely incredible for us, actually. But like I said, we are pretty much going to have to choose something to go to sleep right now against this team. So I'm looking at her squad that she brought, and I have to kind of decide which of my... Basically, I have to choose which of my Pokemon I want to go to sleep right now. And even though I know Goodra's Sap Sipper won't block the Spore because of Mycelium Might, I almost kind of feel like it has to be Goodra. So I feel like, yeah, because I don't think... I really want anything else going to sleep, so I feel like it just has to be Goodra, unfortunately. As it is bulky, hopefully it can wake up. So we'll come in with Goodra, as she does go for the Spore. And yes, hopefully she's not, or anyone in the future is not thinking that I thought Sap Sipper would block it, because I surely did not, as I said. But that thing is going to take some poison damage, leaving it with about 1 HP, which is pretty incredible. Now we're in a situation where we pretty much, we could burn a turn of sleep, because there is 1 turn of sleep guaranteed here. So I feel like basically we just burn a turn of sleep and click a move here with Goodra. That's all we can do. This thing goes for a knockoff, which does minimal damage, but it does get rid of our leftovers, which does kind of suck. That will limit Goodra's staying power, obviously, as we are asleep this turn, can't do anything, and the Toedscruel will go down to the poison damage this turn, knocking her down to 5 Pokemon. So it is very good to have that thing out of the way. The only problem is we have a sleeping Goodra on the battlefield, and that could definitely be a big problem for us, as it kind of gives her an opening to pretty much do whatever she wants right now. So she is going to go ahead and come in with the Dunsparce. course. So that's a curious play. I don't 100% know what she plans on doing with this thing, but one thing I do know for sure is that I do not want to leave Goodra in while it's asleep, because basically that will just give her free reign to do whatever she wants, and we don't want that. So I think what we want to do, we have a couple of options here, but I think we kind of want to go to Rotom. I feel like that might be not a terrible play. So we're going to switch into Rotom here. We're just going to hard switch and see what she wants to do here with this thing. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what she's going to want to do with this thing, but it's certainly Eviolite, I would imagine. She's just going to go for the Stealth Rock to get the entry hazard set up, which is a little unfortunate because we don't have a way to remove that this time around. But the only good news is we certainly are in a position where we can hit this thing. It is pretty slow. Not the bulkiest thing in the world, but in fact it does get a bunch of moves. So we have to think about what we want to do here. This thing has a huge move pool, so it could literally be anything. I kind of just want a Volt Switch to scout for damage here, because we are max special attack choice specs. So I kind of just want to scout for damage with a Volt Switch. So we're going to do just that. We know we should outspeed this thing, so we hit this thing with a Volt Switch. Doesn't do a ton of damage, which makes me think this might be more of a specially invested set. So now we have to choose something to come in here. I almost want it to be the Sleeping Goodra. I kind of want it to be the Sleeping Goodra, but at the same time I also don't. So I kind of... what do we do against this thing? And what else could this thing have? We know it has Stealth Rock. I kind of just want it to be Goodra, unfortunately. I kind of want it to be Goodra. Kind of want it to be Arcanine, actually, too. What does she want to do with this thing, though? This thing has such a wide move pool. I feel like Goodra... I feel like we're just gonna do Goodra, just due to the fact that we are sleep, so maybe we can burn some sleep turns here or something. So yeah, we'll come in with Goodra, we take the Stealth Rock damage. Sucks we don't have the leftovers, as this thing goes for Toxic, which is actually perfect. So this looks to definitely be a support set. So we know 2 of the 4 moves. I feel like we basically just keep clicking buttons here until we wake up. I think that's probably our best play at this point. So we do outspeed. We are asleep, so nothing we can do. That's the second turn of sleep for the Goodra. This thing is going to Roost. So we basically know this thing's full set at this point. There's one move we don't know. But I think, basically, again, as I said, we're just going to keep clicking buttons until Goodra wakes up. That's really all we can do. And that's all we're going to do. So she stays in once again. We are asleep once again, so that's 3 wasted turns thanks to the sleep. This thing goes Toxic again, and obviously it will fail because we are asleep. So round we go here, unfortunately. At this point, Goodra has to wake up at some point, right? So we're just going to keep clicking Sludge Wave here until we wake up. We finally wake up this turn. We go for the Sludge Wave. And it doesn't do too much damage to this thing, unfortunately, as she does go for the Toxic, which is going to poison the Goodra, and of course limit our staying power here. So that does suck, as we are going to take some Toxic damage here. And yeah, not knowing what that 4th move is makes me very wary of switching Sneasler in. I really kind of do want to switch Sneasler in here. But not knowing that 4th move, like I said, it could be a coverage move to hit Sneasler with. But if we could get Sneasler in here, that would be pretty nice. But I kind of don't see it happening as well. We could just go for another Sludge Wave here, hoping for a poison, but it's not super likely. How do we want to play this? I also, in a way, want to go into my Azelf to get some rocks up. So yeah, how do we want to play this? Switching Sneasler in would be incredibly risky at this point. Kind of want to do it, though. Kind of want to do it. We don't know anything else about this set. We're out of time. Let's go, you know what? Let's go Azelf. Let's go Azelf here. We'll switch into Azelf. I really do want to know what that 4th move is on this thing. I mean, this thing could just continue to roost, which would be bad, but We'll go into Azelf, and we take the Stealth Rock damage, of course, as this thing is going to roost, of course, the damage off. So it's going to be a Toxic Stall variant, it looks like, which is incredibly unfortunate. But the good thing is, with Azelf, we do have things we can do. So I kind of want to, as much as I would love to Nasty Plot right now, I also want to go for a Stealth Rock, because this thing probably just Toxics, which is going to be quite unfortunate. But I want to get my rocks up, so I'm just going to go for a Stealth Rock here. She actually just straight up switches, interestingly enough, and she's going to hard switch directly into, that is definitely going to be the Incineroar. So that's fine, that thing gets the Intimidate to cut our attack, and we do go for the Stealth Rock, get the entry hazard set up, which is good, because I anticipate a lot of switching, and we don't want to be the only one taking Stealth Rock. So now we're in a position where the Incineroar is definitely a problem. Now, unfortunately, we don't have much to do to this thing with Azelf, so we definitely want to switch out. I'm not 100% sure what the best thing is to switch into Incineroar, as we don't know anything about its set quite yet. I kind of want to go into Grimmsnarl, although I don't want to get knocked off with whatever she goes for, because I feel like either a Fake Out or a Knockoff is coming here. So I kind of want to just go into Goodra here, because I feel like the Knockoff is coming. So yeah, and I don't think, unfortunately, based on the Pokemon she's brought to the battle, I don't really see Goodra being super useful. It's already been knocked off, it's poisoned. So we're going to switch into Goodra here, and see what she goes for. So there's the Goodra. We are going to take the Stealth Rock damage, unfortunately, as she goes for the Knockoff, as expected. Going to do massive damage. We do barely hang on there with 53 HP, and we take some more poison damage. So basically, Goodra is on its last legs already. It is our only Terra Captain this week that we brought, so we want to make note of the fact that this thing has Knock. Basically, all we can do at this point, we might as well just Terra, because if we're lucky, we can maybe get a big shot off on the Incineroar, but more than likely, she probably just goes back to the Dunsparce here. But unfortunately, that's just kind of the situation we find ourselves in, is Goodra is not going to be a major player, unfortunately, in this game. So we're just going to do a Terra Blast Ground here, just because we can. She does withdraw, so that's kind of as expected. Probably back into the, yep, I believe that is the Dunsparce, so that thing comes in, it takes some Stealth Rock damage. We are going to blast this thing, hit this thing with a nice Terra Blast Ground here, just cuz. So yeah, we're just going to do that because we can. As I said, Goodra is unfortunately on its last legs in this one, so we will go Terra Ground on the Goodra, and we will go for a Terra Blast Ground on this thing. Hopefully we can get some sort of chip on this thing at least. So there's the Terra Blast Ground. Does some chip damage to this thing, not a lot, and we are going to take poison damage, which we will not survive. So Goodra does succumb to the poison damage this turn, and that will knock us down to, unfortunately, 5 Pokemon. So actually, the only good thing about this is, with the Goodra going down like this, that's going to give us a free switch, and we have a couple of options as to what we want to switch into here. And as tempting as it is to go into the Sneasler, I kind of want to... I feel like Sneasler's probably the best play here. I really kind of want to go into Arcanine, but I feel like Sneasler is still the best play here. So yeah, we go Sneasler here. That's the obvious play, but we'll go Sneasler. And we are going to take a little bit of Stealth Rock damage there. And yeah, at this point... I'm not sure if a close combat would actually take this thing out from this range or not, but she does have multiple switches into a close combat, so I feel like we just U-turn here. That's our best play, so that's what we're going to do. See what she wants to do here. I feel like even with the Eviolite, and this looks to be more of a specially defensive variant, we probably KO with close combat from that range. So I don't know if she wants to risk that. Because she does have, like I said, multiple switches into Sneasler. But this thing probably can't do much to Sneasler in return, although we still don't know that 4th move on that set. So she actually does stay in, which is quite surprising. We get the U-turn chip and the pivot. What is she going to go for here? That's the question, is what does she go for here? I don't know. That's interesting. So, what does she go for? I guess we go into... I guess we'll go into Azelf in case it's a ground move. It could be a psychic move. So we'll go Azelf. We take some Stealth Rock damage, and this thing is going to Roost, actually. So that's kind of an interesting turn of events there. Kind of wasn't expecting that. I guess she was extremely confident that she could survive an attack for one reason or another. So I don't really see her staying in on this matchup. But at the same time, part of me really wants to try to get a nasty plot up here, because if we can get a nasty plot up, we could do some serious damage to this team. Within certain parameters. But I feel like the Incineroar switch is super obvious right now. But all the same, I really kind of want to go for a nasty plot anyway, because I feel like this thing might toxic. So let's nasty plot and see what she wants to do here. So she does actually switch this turn, so probably does just go into the Incineroar. So yep, there's the Incineroar. So the Incineroar comes in, doesn't take rocks. Nope, no rocks, so it's going to be boots. Gets the Intimidate. We go nasty plot, so we get a sharp special attack increase here. And so with the sharp special attack increase, we know that we're not going to... So we can hit this thing hard. We know we can hit this thing hard. However, we also know that anything we go for does not take this thing out. That being said, it may be in our best interest, because we really don't have much of a switch to this thing. It may be in our best interest to try and chip this thing down with a Thunderbolt at this point, although I kind of don't want to let Azelf go like that. Our best switch to this thing would be the Grimmsnarl, which unfortunately, if we get knocked off, that would suck, because then we lose our Light Clay and we couldn't get screens up. So this is a little bit of a conundrum on our hands here. I kind of want to just Thunderbolt to chip this thing. So I feel like this might be a mistake, but we'll do it anyway. We'll Thunderbolt, because we just don't have a knockoff switch. So we'll go Thunderbolt at +2. Actually gets a critical hit and takes the Incineroar out, knocking her down to 4 Pokemon as we take some Life Orb recoil. So that was amazing, actually. That crit, I think, definitely mattered. There was no question in my mind that crit mattered, because unless that Incineroar has like no defensive investment, that crit definitely mattered. So that thing goes down to a crit, which is incredible for us. Now the Dragapult comes in. But a great bit of luck on our side there. We definitely don't stay in on the Dragapult here. Grimmsnarl is basically the perfect switch to this thing, as we have a resistance or an immunity to both of its stabs. So we definitely switch the Grimmsnarl in here, no two ways about that. And yeah, we just kind of go from there. So yeah, but that was an incredible bit of luck on our side there to get rid of that Incineroar before it could really do a lot of work to our team, as it was kind of poised to do. But yeah, Azelf definitely came through for us there. But now we have to see what this Dragapult's got in store for us. And we will see. But yeah, we definitely don't outspeed the Dragapult, so there's no reason to leave Azelf in on this matchup. So we definitely switch into the Grimmsnarl here. We'll see what kind of move she wants to go for here on the Grimmsnarl. There it is. We do take the Stealth Rock damage, of course, as she is going to go for a Dragon Dart. So that's pretty fortunate. Does not affect us, obviously, since we are a Fairy type. And so now we're in a situation where we can definitely start to get some screens up here. We could play rough, but she does have a resist on deck to that. So I kind of don't want to do that. I kind of want to just get a screen up, and it looks to be a physical. So I kind of want to go Reflect to get the physical boost, but at the same time, let's see. Yeah, we'll go Reflect first to get the physical defense increase first. We'll do that. So she definitely switches out here. Definitely could be a banned Dragapult. Not sure. So this thing is going to come back in the Dunsparce, take some rocks. We do go for a nice Reflect here, which is going to get a nice physical defense increase for all of our Pokemon for several turns here. So now the question is, that we know this thing has Toxic. We don't know the 4th move. So I would love to... I really just want to go into Sneasler here to block the Toxic. I really wish I knew what that 4th move was. If it's like Earthquake or something, that would be devastating. But you know what? Reflect is up, so we're just going to hard switch into Sneasler here to try and block the Toxic. Not sure what this thing's final move is going to be, but We're going to do it. We're going to go into Sneasler here and take more rocks. We have the physical defense increase as this thing does go for a Toxic, so we get the prediction right and we block the Toxic, which is nice. So now we're in a similar but worse situation than we were last time with this thing, because I do not believe that we take this thing out with a close combat from this range if it's max. I mean, even though it could be more specially defensive, she has so many switches. She has so many switches right now that I really don't. I really am tempted to go for the close combat, but at the same time, I just really don't want to because she has multiple switches to said close combat. So I feel like we just U-turn again. I think that's the safe play. So she actually does go for the switch this time, perhaps anticipating the close combat, is actually going to come in with the Corviknight this time, take the Stealth Rock damage. We do go for the U-turn, which does absolutely nothing to this thing. We do take some Rocky Helmet chip, so this looks to be a pretty max defense Rocky Helmet Corviknight. Nothing special about that. But yeah, we 100% in this situation will go back into Rotom. There's absolutely no reason not to. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll go back into Rotom here, take some Stealth Rock damage, and in this situation, I feel like once again, since her ground type is gone, we can very easily click Choice Specs Volt Switch here. Probably won't take this thing out if she stays in, but worth clicking, I think, anyway, so that's what we're going to do. If she decides to switch, we will be able to keep the momentum going, which is, of course, what we want. So we'll see what she wants to do here. If this is Max Fizz Def Corviknight, which based on how it took that U-turn, I think it's definitely Max Fizz Def Corviknight. The Volt Switch will hurt, but if she leaves it in, but probably won't. But we'll see. We will see what she wants to do. What is it going to be? So she does switch. Definitely doesn't want to leave the Corviknight in on the Rotom. She will be switching now into the Rotom Wash, into the Dunsparce once again. Takes the Stealth Rock damage as we do go for a Choice Specs Volt Switch. Does some pretty decent damage to this thing. Knocks it below half, which is great. And now I think it's time to do something that I've wanted to do a couple of turns ago, and that is bring the Hisuian Arcanine in. So we're going to go ahead and come in with that Hisuian Arcanine. We are going to take the Stealth Rock damage, a bunch of it, but we then are going to get some HP back with our leftovers. So the question is now, what does she do? Does she stay in or does she switch? That is the question. And I feel like her switch options are running out at this point. I don't know that she has a great switch. I really want to take this opportunity to get a substitute up. I really kind of want to take this opportunity to get a substitute up, but I also want to check how many more turns. So we still have 4 turns of Reflect with that physical defense increase, which is pretty important. So I kind of want to take this, knowing basically, I feel like this thing probably roosts though, but I'm not super worried about this thing. So we're going to take this opportunity to get a substitute up. She does stay in. We do go ahead and go for a substitute. Hopefully she goes Toxic, because that would be great. What is she going to go for? She does go Roost, so that's unfortunate. She does get a bunch of HP back, but I'm actually okay with that exchange, because now Hisuian Arcanine is behind the substitute, getting some leftovers recovery, and that's actually not too bad for us. So at this point, she has absolutely no switch to a Head Smash. She could go the Fizz Def Corviknight, which I feel like she probably does, because I don't think this thing has anything to hit us with. So we go Flare Blitz here. I think that's the play, as she actually does stay in. We go for a Flare Blitz. We are max attack on this set. Doesn't quite take it down to half, unfortunately, but does do massive damage, as this thing goes for a Flamethrower. That's very interesting. So the last move is Flamethrower, and that will definitely not be enough to break our substitute. So now that we know this thing's full set, that is awesome. So I feel like we get some HP back with leftovers, which is awesome. I feel like we Head Smash here. That's our play, so that's what we're going to do. She does stay in, probably just trying to break the substitute. We go Head Smash. It is enough, actually, from that range to go ahead and take the Dunsparce out and knock her down to 3 Pokemon. So that's absolutely incredible for us. We get to keep our sub up, and we get some more HP back from the leftovers. So Hisuian Arcanine in a pretty strong position right now, which is pretty incredible for us. So now she's going to go ahead and come in with the Dragapult. So she is going to take some Stealth Rock damage, which is nice. And so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we do in fact still have one more turn of Reflect, which is perfect. So what we're going to do here is just go for another Head Smash. There's no reason not to. Now, the only problem is if this thing is Infiltrator, it will actually go through the Substitute. However, we don't know that yet. So we'll just click Head Smash and see what she wants to do. She goes for a Surf. Is she Infiltrator? Yes, unfortunately, she's Infiltrator. That's very unfortunate. So she's a mixed set and she's an Infiltrator. So that sucks. So Reflect is going to wear off, and we're going to go down to 4 Pokemon. But that is okay. There is a positive here. There is a good thing about that, and that is that we can come in with our Grimmsnarl, and we do take some Stealth Rock damage. So that was an unfortunate exchange for us, but not much we can do about it. So now that the Reflect is over, we can start getting some screens up again here. I think that's probably the best play. I feel like there's no way this thing stays in on the Grimmsnarl, but even so, we'll go for a light screen first to get that special defense increase, as she is indeed going to switch. No reason for her to stay in on this matchup. And so she is going to go ahead and switch in with the Galarian Articuno, take a bunch of Stealth Rock damage. We go for a light screen, which is, of course, going to give us that special defense increase for several turns. And so we're in an interesting situation here because this is her Terra Captain, right? So based on the potential Terra types that she could be, I feel like we're actually kind of safe to go for a Thunder Punch here. We don't want to let this thing set up for free. So we're going to Thunder Punch this thing for sure. She could Terra. She actually doesn't Terra. She goes for a Calm Mind instead, thinking maybe we don't have an attack to hit this thing with. Gets a special attack and special defense increase, but that isn't going to help her against the Thunder Punch. We are max attack. It's not quite enough to take that thing out, but inflicts massive damage in the process, which is amazing. And now we're in another interesting situation against this thing. So we know that this thing is Calm Mind. We want to make a note of that. So I think what we want to do here, she could Terra out if she is in fact, she could Terra out of the Electric Weakness at this point, depending on what her Terra type is. We don't know, so she'll either take, I think Thunder Punch is still the play here. So I think we are still going to click Thunder Punch here. I think that's the play, so that's what we're going to do. She does actually go ahead and pop a Custat Berry to move first on us, as she is going to. So she was Custat Berry, but there's no item left. She is going to go ahead and Terrasilize. What type is she? She is going to be Fighting. Okay, so that's interesting. So she does go Terra Fighting on the Galarian Articuno. What is she going to have is the question here. She does have Terra Blast Fighting. It is at +1, however, we are behind Light Screen, which will reduce the special damage. We take it easily, and then we go for a Thunder Punch in return, which will be more than enough from that range to knock that Articuno out and knock her down to just 2 Pokemon. So that is pretty great for us. Grimmsnarl is putting some work in here, which is nice. And yeah, you like to see it. So she's down to the Dragapult and the, of course, Corviknight. So we're going to see how she wants to play this here. What does she come in with now is the question. Will it be the Corviknight or will it be the Dragapult? We actually do have super effective damage on deck for both of those Pokemon, which is pretty nice. But we know the Corviknight is Rocky Helmet, and we know the Dragapult is a mixed set. So she is, in fact, going to go ahead and come in with the Corviknight. She takes some Stealth Rock damage, which is nice. Now, the only question is here, does she have Defog on deck? Because I would like to go for a... as we do still have 5 turns of Light Screen left, which is nice, I would like to go for a Reflect to get that physical defense increase. But at the same time, I also am not sure, because if this thing is Defog, it'll just blow the screens away. So I'm not 100% sure how I want to play this. Grimmsnarl is also a great answer to Dragapult. So I kind of don't want to lose that, but at the same time, Scarf Sneasler will outspeed the Dragapult. I don't know that we really have a great switch right now. I feel like our best play is to stay in and perhaps just Thunder Punch this thing for chip. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to chip this thing. So she does go Roost, so I should have figured that was going to come as the super standard Corviknight set. So she Roosts, we Thunder Punch, no damage, and we take the Rocky Helmet. So definitely should have seen that coming. I think the only thing we can do here, best thing we can do, we could either Reflect to get that physical boost, or we can switch. I kind of want to just Reflect. So let's Reflect here, see what she wants to do. She could very well have Defog, but we want to scout the set further, so we'll go for Reflect to get the physical defense increase as this thing goes for a Screech. Okay, so that's going to drop our physical defense. That's interesting. Okay, so this thing has Screech. Definitely wasn't expecting that. So, but I think we definitely want to switch out here, and I think we want to switch into Azelf. I think Azelf is the right switch here. We don't know anything else about this set, but we do know that Azelf will get outsped and KO'd by Dragapult. So if Azelf's going to do anything for the rest of this game, it's going to be against this Corviknight. So we want to save Grimmsnarl even though it's pretty chipped. We'll come in with Azelf, take more Stealth Rock damage. Both screens are up, which is nice. This thing does Roost, which is unfortunate. That's going to put it back up to full, but it wasn't very chipped to begin with. So we have a little bit of a choice to make here because the switch is pretty obvious into the Dragapult, which does resist the Thunderbolt. She knows we have the Thunderbolt. So we could try to catch her and go for a Psychic instead. I kind of want to do that because I feel like she does not want to take a Thunderbolt with this thing. So I feel like she switches to Dragapult here. So let's go Psychic and try to... I mean, we could Thunderbolt. Let's go Psychic, predicting the switch. So she does stay in, actually, interestingly enough. We go Psychic. Does some decent chip damage, actually, as we take some Life Orb Recoil. This thing goes for Brave Bird. That's unfortunate. We do actually take it, thanks to the Reflect, which is nice, and this thing takes some Recoil. And now I think we definitely click Thunderbolt, although she could switch. I think we definitely click Thunderbolt here. The opportunity to hit this thing hard is too great. So there's no thought process there. If she stays in, we take her out. If she switches, we'll at least get some chip on the Dragapult. But yeah, that's we could have hit her hard with a Thunderbolt there, but she decided to stay in with the Brave Bird. We don't know the last move yet. I'm guessing it's not Defog. She actually stays in. We go Thunderbolt. Is it enough? Yes, it is enough. Thankfully is enough to eliminate that Corviknight and knock her down to just one Pokemon as Azelf takes some Life Orb Recoil. The light screen is over, but that's completely fine. Now she comes in with the Dragapult. So this thing comes in as it is going to take some Stealth Rock damage. And so I am relatively confident that this thing is choice. There's no reason for us to switch at this point. We're just going to click Psychic and see what she goes for. And yeah, that's pretty much our only thought process at this point. So we'll see what she wants to do with this Dragapult. If she is choice, that would be great. She actually goes for a substitute, so she's not choice. I might have missed a Life Orb before, I don't know, but she goes substitute. We go Psychic. It should be more than enough to break the substitute, hopefully, as it is indeed enough to break the substitute. So that's fine. Azelf is going to go down to the Life Orb Recoil here, but that's perfectly fine because that is going to set the stage, ladies and gentlemen. The Azelf goes down. We go down to 3 Pokemon, but that is going to set the stage for Choice Scarf Sneasler. So we're going to go ahead and come in with that. We do take some Stealth Rock damage, and thanks to the fact that this thing is not choice, we know we should 100% outspeed it, and all we have to do is click Throat Chop, so that's exactly what we're going to do. There we go. We do outspeed. Throat Chop from that range, going to be more than enough to go ahead and finish that Dragapult off, and that is game. So we are going to win that one 3-0 against Anastasia. That was a really great match. Very close, very competitive, very interesting game, actually. definitely some interesting stuff on her side. Stuff on my side, I think worked out relatively well. But yeah, very, very happy to take the win in that one over a very, very tough opponent in Anastasia. But definitely a little bit of luck on our side as well, early game. But a really solid match all around. And with that, the Philadelphia Pidgeys are going to advance to a 4-1 record here in the BHDL4. Very happy about that, as we're now at the halfway point here in the league. And so, yeah, I will reserve my full thoughts on this and every other game this week for, of course, the Captain's Recap, which will be coming your way within the next couple of days here. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that for now. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.